Hi ladies, I'm back. I am going to show you how to apply your Jamberry wrap. I've got my left hand almost finished. I have the August Sisters exclusive wrap on my pinky. On my ring finger I have the lacquer in Midas with a top coat of Stardust. These both come in the Glitz and Glam lacquer set. If you can see that, I have that on my ring finger. It's not focusing again. And then on these two fingers, I have my gold sparkle wrap applied for these two fingers. So I have my thumb, and that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to put the August Sisters exclusive on this one also. And I'm going to show you how I do my thumbs. Mostly, I wanted to do my thumb because I see people post pictures of their thumbs and it drives me crazy. If you look at my nail bed, it's flat here, and people just use this and see how they're round. See the edges? They're all round. This is the same for my big toes also, but this is what I like to do. So we're going to turn on the heater. And as you can see, the heater is amazing, and it's quiet. So I've already got part of this cut. We did my sister's nails in these, so this is what I have left after her manicure. But so what I do is I would trim this, obviously, normally. I'm going to pick this up, and this is the side, this round side, that's going to go on my nail bed here. But since this is curved and my nail bed is flat, I'm going to take my little scissors and I'm just going to cut a little tiny bit off the end. See? And now it's flat. And then I'm just going to barely cut the edge. So now it's flat. Not as flat as this edge here from when I cut it before, but it's still pretty round, but it just has a flatter bottom. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this up, and I'm going to angle it like this so you can see. But see how all of a sudden it just curled like that? That's how I know that it's ready. So then I'm going to center it onto my nail. Hopefully I did that okay. And then I'm going to take my cuticle pusher. I have this rubber one from Jamberry, and it's amazing. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I'm pretty sure it comes in our application kit. I'll double check. But I go down the side, the middle part of it, and then outward. Kind of like in a, I don't know, sunburst shape. And I'm just applying lots and lots of pressure. And the nice thing about this rubber one is that it doesn't hurt, and I just think it gives a really good even pressure on it. So now, if you look, this wrap, if you look closely, is just a little bit too big on my nail. Now, if I were just to file this off and be done with it, this all is going to lift on this side. And again on this side, because it's just barely too big. So it's already on my nail. What am I going to do? I'm going to trim it. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to use my scissors and just ever so slightly lift up this edge. And I'm just going to carefully sliver off this. And generally I make sure that I have a wrap that's smaller, but my nails actually are kind of in between sizes. So the next size down is too small. The next size up, too big. So I just trim. And sometimes I'll trim before, but I wanted to show you, if you get your wrap and you're like, oh man, it's just a little bit too big, just lift up these edges, because I applied all that pressure, but it's still, workable a little bit. So I'm going to, if you know it from the beginning, then I would definitely trim your wrap down before you put it on your finger. This edge is a little bit harder for me to get. I'm just trying to get the slightest little sliver off. Okay, so And I'm going to just put my thumb up to the heater and get it hot again. I'm going to rub it down real quick, those sides and the back. Now I'm going to take, remember my cuticle pusher from when we prepped my nail. Now I'm going to hold this right in front of the heater. And I'm going to let it get kind of hot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub it onto my wrap. This is like the greatest thing ever, because when it heats up, it's kind of like an iron, and it's like shrink wrapping, and it's just heating it up just enough to just really get those edges really, really good down. Now you don't have to do this. A lot of times I'll just hold my nail up a little bit and I'll apply more with pressure. I prefer to use this because it's all hot. Okay, and then the tips. Now remember I told you that my nails are kind of weak and damaged, so this is what I do because I need pressure on the tip of my nail to get a good seal, but my nails aren't strong enough to do that. So what I do with my magical tool here is I heat it up a little bit again. I stick it underneath my nail here and hold it, and I'm just rubbing it onto the cuticle pusher. So it's giving me support underneath my nail so that I can apply that good pressure, and I'm adding just a little bit of heat. And then if you can see here, kind of like molded onto the cuticle pusher. And I'm just going to pull it down off of there. And then I'm just going to rub a little bit, and rub a little bit, again, like that. Okay, so now the next secret or a tip, I guess, from people that have done this a lot, is to let this cool. To not just go ahead and start filing the nail. You want it to get cooled off. What I've heard people say happens is that when it's warm and you file it down, it's not cooled off enough, and so the wrap actually shrinks back a little bit, and so it exposes too much. When I file it, I do file it straight down to get all of the edges off, and then a little bit at an angle just to get the teeny tiniest bit of the tip off, so that if if you are scraping something, it's not going to catch that edge on your nail. So if you look, sorry, this doesn't focus very good. You can just barely see the ends of these tips. It's not noticeable to people, and you can't see it unless you look really close, but that's how it is. So then, once it's all nice and cool, what you do is you're going to go straight down, and you don't go up when you file, you're just going to go straight in a downward motion. So we're just going to go ahead and file down, 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 down. You want to make sure you have a good file. It's important that you're not, just hashing on your nail over and over with a really crappy file. So you want to make sure that you should get it in just a couple of strokes. And see, it just peels right off. Look at that. So if there's a little bit caught, I take my scissors just because I don't want to file it anymore than I already have, and I just trim it off. I'm just going to touch up that little corner here. There's a little tiny piece here that's hanging off, and I don't want that to lift or get snagged, so I'm just going to trim that off of there. The other side looks good. And so what I like to do is turn on my heater one more time, and I'm just going to use my thumb to rub it, the tip, real good. And then using the soft side of your file or whatever, I sent, some of you got these little buffer blocks. One side's rough and one side's soft. Just go ahead and buff up that edge. Make it all nice and lovely and smooth. And there you have it. All done. Any questions?